Hi there. So my name is Adam and I'm one of the chiropractors here at Wellbeing Chiropractic. And thank you so much for joining us today or tonight or this morning, whenever you're watching this. And today is called Better Results Faster. So it's really designed for existing patients or new patients who are seeing a chiropractor who maybe want to find out some more information or potentially want to understand a bit more about what's going on and how you can get the best results by seeing a chiropractor at one of our wellbeing clinics, or for that matter, at any chiropractor at any clinic. Today's called Better Results Faster. It's an introduction workshop. We do host these at some of our clinics, but we also have a virtual version for people who can't get into the clinic. So I just thought I'd introduce you and go from there. So again, my name's Adam. Just to start off with, I want to go through and talk to you about a survey that was done in 2023. And it talked about chronic pain, but it's not just about chronic pain. What we're really looking at is how it's affecting Australia and whether we're healthy or not. So 61% of all Australians have some form of chronic health condition, and 3.6 million Australians have some type of pain or symptom every single day. So out of a population of about, I think we're 27 million at the moment, 3.6 million have some type of pain every single day. Now, these are facts more around lifestyle and family. So when we're talking about these people that had these symptoms, I said 60% felt a strain on family or friends' relationship as a result of having these issues, and 76% felt ignored by a medical or health professional. Now, out of everything that I've just said to you with these facts, for myself and for the team here at Wellbeing Chiropractic, that last fact is really damning. So 76% or three-quarters of people who went out of their way, blocked out of time in their schedule, called up, booked an appointment online, came in, spent time with a health professional or a medical professional. 3 out of 4 of those people felt ignored after they did that. And for me, and I guess the reason that we're here and the reason we're doing this is we want to let you know we're here, we're listening, and we want to help, and we don't want you to feel ignored. And part of the reason that we do this here at Wellbeing Chiropractic, or have these events or doing this recording, is we don't want you to feel ignored. We want you to know that we're here to help. And we also understand it is about you, but it's also about your family and friends around you as well. So in saying that, who's this guy talking to me? Adam. Guys, my name is Adam Curwood. I'll just tell you a bit about myself. So I actually grew up in Gippsland. For those of you who don't know that, that's in country Victoria. You might know Gippsland yogurt. My parents are not farmers. But, both my mum and dad are primary school teachers, and I've got 2 older sisters, a younger brother, and I've got 5 beautiful nieces, and I'm married to an amazing woman called Michelle, and we're hoping to start our family, soon over the next year or two. Growing up, I absolutely loved soccer and played footy as well, basketball, cricket, anything that I could get my hands on, I'd do it. And yeah, I've always really had an interest in helping people. And the reason that I'm telling you this is I want to let you know that just like yourself and just like your family, I'm a human. I really want to help other people, and the team here at Wellbeing Chiropractic have all got into the health profession because they want to help people. And again, going back to those facts about how it's affecting family or friendships, up to 60% of those, and three-quarters of people feeling ignored. We don't like hearing that, and we want to let you know that we're here to help, and we really want to help you. Now, talking about those chronic diseases, and I'll just highlight these age groups here. So when we're looking at people that are 15 to 44, we found that they're behavioral and sleep-related conditions. When we saw people that are 45 to 64, a lot of them were back problems and arthritis. And people 65 and over, the biggest chronic issue that they were dealing with is arthritis. So going through those lists again, can chiropractors help or help manage arthritis? Yeah, like 100%. That's what we deal with. That's our bread and butter. For the 45 to 64-year-olds, do we help with back problems and arthritis? Yes, again, like that's our bread and butter again. And then in that younger age group, you might be thinking, well, mental, behavioral, sleep-related conditions. Probably the biggest one out of those that we do help with, believe it or not, is actually sleep-related issues. So with all of these age groups and seeing all these chronic conditions, there's a big portion of them. As a chiropractor myself, and I know the rest of our team, we do see a lot of these issues and we can help with them in certain cases. So what we're trying to do here at Wellbeing Chiropractic is let people know that for chronic health conditions, it is something that chiropractors can help with a lot of them. And we want to be there to essentially help people and so they can live their life better. And our purpose as a company is to enhance lives through chiropractic, and our mission is to educate and adjust people towards their full potential. And again, that's why we have these better results faster in some of our clinics. That's why we're doing this virtual one tonight, is because we really want to make sure that we're able to enhance your life, if that's what you're wanting and where you want to achieve your goals. So when we talk to patients, there's often a few things that we find if they get these concepts, then often they can be healthier and get their goals and essentially achieve things that they maybe never thought they could or they used to be able to do. So the first one is to remind people that you're designed to be healthy. Your body wants to thrive, and essentially that if you give it the right nutrients, you get the right amount of movement, you reduce the amount of stress on your body, it's going to thrive and it's designed to be healthy. Now, for a lot of us, living, I guess, in different types of paradigms or health paradigms, sometimes we often think about sick and not sick, or maybe, sick and healthy. But I think what we have to remember is that, and for any patients that have been in and filled out our paperwork, we really look at health as a continuum. And so we often have sick, not sick, and then healthy. And often when people have symptoms, they're in this sick part. When you're in this not sick part, you might just be, oh, there's a few signs, but I'm feeling okay. Whereas healthy is really thriving. And so what we try to do here at Wellbeing Chiropractic is get people to understand that you're always on a continuum with your health, and that you're normally heading in one direction or the other. You're typically not stationary. So what we often say is if you have any symptoms at all, you're pretty much the highest you can be is around a 5. If you don't have symptoms, that's when you're typically more towards this developing wellness, towards this high level of function and good health. And so have a think about this chart in your head, if you haven't already, about where you are and maybe what direction you're heading. Because like I said, we're always heading in one direction, whether it's towards symptoms, disease, poor health, or whether it's towards optimal and good health. Other things that we talk to people about is that your body is smart and it can often help itself. Sometimes we just need to remove interference that might be happening in the body. So the big thing that I always talk to people about is if you've just had lunch, just had breakfast or dinner, how did your body know to start digesting? And more importantly is once the food is digested, how does your body know how to stop? The other one is, if you have a cut on your finger or a cut on your hand or anywhere on your body, how does your body know how to stop the bleeding, then to form a scab, and then for new tissues to grow underneath it? So your body is incredibly smart, and when this happens, it's normally happening because of the nervous system, which is the next point. So your nervous system is the master system. And so the nervous system is always telling your body what to do, whether that's from a digestive system point of view, whether it's from a cardiovascular system point of view. Your nervous system is communicating with the rest of your body. And so your nervous system is made up of your brain and then your spinal cord and then the nerves that come out and supply these areas. So coming back to the example of eating food before, if you ate some food, your body wouldn't have known to digest that food unless the nervous system communicated with your brain. So this is your stomach here. Once the food goes in there, it essentially communicates through the nerves up the spinal cord into your brain, and it then registers and says, hey guys, I've got some food here. Can we please digest this? Your brain then connects with another nerve, which goes down your spinal cord, out to the stomach, and then starts to digest that food. Now, once the stomach is empty, again, we need to communicate with the rest of the body. So through the nervous system, it communicates up to your spinal cord, all the way up to your brain. Says, hey guys, I'm empty again. We can stop digesting. And again, that's when your brain connects down through your spinal cord, out into your stomach and says, okay, you can rest now. And this is happening consistently, whether it be with your lungs to increase your breathing, whether it be to increase your salivary glands when you're starting to eat. There's all these different little things that your body is doing, and your body is so smart and it's controlled by the nervous system. So when we're talking about the nervous system and why it's so important is we have to remember there's a suit of armor around the nervous system. And the spine is the suit of armor around your spinal cord, and your skull is the suit of armor around your brain. So our body knows that when we're growing and forming, we need to protect these areas. So we often tell you that your spine is your suit of armor of the nervous system. And in order to be truly healthy, you need to have a healthy nervous system. To have a healthy nervous system, we have to have a healthy spine. And that's how we look at the body as chiropractors. So then when we're talking about stress that causes subluxation or causes a condition known as subluxation, and for some of you, you might have remembered us talking about spinal subluxation degeneration, and that's when your x-rays are changing over time. When we're talking about subluxation itself, we're actually talking about the joints of the spine not moving how they should. And often this is caused by 3 different stresses. The first, and we often refer to these as the 3 T's. So thoughts, toxins, traumas are the 3 T's we refer to. Now, when we're thinking about toxins, we're talking about side effects of perhaps medication. We're talking about bad foods or inflammatory foods, which can tense up the musculature around the joints and reduce movement through the vertebrae. When we're talking about thoughts, we're talking about increased stress on the body, which can increase cortisol, again, increasing inflammation and making it so those joints don't move how they should. And then the last one we're talking about is trauma. Now, for most people, they can understand that trauma can actually be like a car accident, a fall, or something like that. But the big one, or the other one that people forget about, is things like tech neck. And so when we have a big fall or an accident or a car accident or a sports injury, that's what we call a macro trauma. When we're talking about looking at your phone, the way that you sleep, the way that you drive the car and put your arm up, that's when we're typically talking more about micro traumas. And what people often forget might be that when you have micro traumas, you can't necessarily completely avoid them, but you can tend to minimize them. And the more that you can minimize them, the less likely those subluxations occur, or more importantly, reoccur over time. Again, when we're talking about the adjustments, which is the treatment that chiropractors perform, we're aiming to correct that subluxation. Now, again, if we're looking at your x-rays and you've had subluxation in your spine for a long period of time, we have to recorrect with adjustments again and again, because your body is going to naturally or unnaturally go back to that position, and that joint isn't going to move how it should be. So what determines how often we adjust you or adjust your spine is typically how long your body holds the adjustments for. So if your adjustments are holding well, typically we might go from twice a week out to weekly, or in some cases from 3 times a week to twice a week. So when we're looking at correcting subluxation, we're looking and identifying it, but we're also trying to identify how long your body's holding those adjustments for, and also how long you might have had that subluxation pattern for. And this leads into the recommendations for care and what we often do with people. So I've got 3 case studies here I just want to run through with you. So this is Charlie, the construction worker. So Charlie's 38. He had left sciatica. So for those of you who don't know what that is, that's essentially back pain, which then runs down your leg into your glute in some cases, and sometimes even down into your foot. He'd been on pain medication, which was the only thing that gave him some relief. However, it wasn't really fixing or correcting the problem. He had been trying physio for 2 years on and off, described the sciatica symptoms as numbness and like an ache in the left leg, said he just felt helpless and just wanted to be able to walk normally, because he just said, I couldn't walk normally, I couldn't relax. So in this case, what we did with this person was took a set of x-rays, took a posture photo, did an analysis, and after that, we saw them 3 times a week for 6 weeks. We gave them a posture pole to work at home. Some of you might have seen a posture pole in our clinics. And then we gave them some hamstring and glute stretches and exercises. And so this was after the initial period. And then we see a follow-up about 6 weeks later. And we can see left was when we first came in, and on the right is after that period of time. So even just looking at these photos, who looks as though they've got more energy? Yep, the one on the right. Who looks as though that they've, have more energy, or who doesn't have as much back pain? The one on the right. And probably not that we're reversing age, but who looks younger? I'd say the one on the right as well. So this is just after a 6-week period. And as we said, 3 times a week for 6 weeks, which is an intensive schedule, and followed by exercises. So after this period, the sciatica had reduced by 90%. All pain medication had also been stopped, and it was reporting that it was digestion was better. So when we were looking at the digestion, in this case, I was saying, well, could it be related to the nerves of the lower back? Maybe. I think probably more importantly, it was more related to the fact that we'd stopped that pain medication, which might have been screwing around with the guts there. And said he had occasional numbness after a big day, best he'd felt in 2 years, and was able to start walking again for exercise. Now, the key thing that happened in this case is he came to all of his appointments, did the posture pole and exercises, and helped to reduce the aggravating factors. And you'll hear me say that as a common theme for people to get best results. This next one's Terry, the truck driver. So Terry had some really bad headaches, 3 days a week for years, and he just thought it was normal. I was actually referred in. He said he just consistently felt wound up, could not focus for long periods of time, had a thumping headache, and just felt frustrated and just wanted to feel younger again. So with Terry, and I'll show you the scans in a moment, but we did it 3 times a week for 4 weeks and then twice a week for 8 weeks. So for those of you who've been in for your first 2 visits and we've taken x-rays, this one on the left here is a normal x-ray. This one on the right is Terry's x-ray. And so there's always 3 features that we look for. There's the nice C-shaped curve, even gaps between the bones, and then nice square bones. And we compare that to the right, we can see that that neck is going forward. We can see that these gaps are starting to get smaller and the bones are not as square around this area. So you can imagine how that could be putting more pressure on the nerves that are around there. So this was after a 3-month period of follow-up X-ray. We can see on the left here, again, leaning further forward. We can see on the right, coming back to more of a neutral position, not quite there yet. Now, just even, not being able to read X-rays, but I'm sure some of you can already tell that the one on the right is going to have less pressure, tension on the neck, but then also what comes out the back of the neck here, those nerves. So when we're looking to reduce the pressure in headaches in some cases, or try to reduce that throbbing, it can often be the position of the neck and the movement of those joints, which helps to reduce nerve irritation. So after 3 months, Terry said for the last 4 weeks, he hadn't had a headache, was sleeping better, felt more relaxed, and actually started to read again, which is something he didn't tell me originally, but started to read again. Said he felt more relaxed, felt the youngest he had, or felt 10 years younger. And again, the big thing that we did here was a cervical orthotic. He increased the amount of water he was taking in, and he came to all his appointments over that 3-month period. Now, those first two were adults. Now, this could be a little bit confusing for some people, but you would notice when you're in our clinic, sometimes we do see kids, sometimes we do see bubs, sometimes we do see pregnant ladies. And for some people, that can be confusing. However, all of these people have a spine, and yes, we might have to adjust them or do treatment differently. And we need to adapt to what we're doing in some cases. So in this situation, I was actually seeing this patient's mum. So this is Bobby. So Bobby's mum was coming in and just said, hey, Bobby, he doesn't have any pain, doesn't really have any symptoms, but he's just a bit clumsy, kind of trips over. Do you think you could help with his nervous system? And I said, well, I don't know, bring him in, we'll check him out and see what we can do. So Bobby's 10 years old. He was just a bit clumsy, tripping over, had poor hand-eye coordination. And so when we assessed him, we also noticed there was some issues around his jaw. So we did a bit of jaw work and breathing work. And he said one big thing that he really wanted to do was to be able to get in the cricket team. So when we were seeing Bobby, we did twice a week for 6 weeks. We did some vestibular exercises, which is standing on one leg and doing a few balance exercises with his breathing as well. And we originally did twice a week for 6 weeks, after which things were looking good, which you can see on the right. And then we went on to monthly care to manage him. So yes, he wanted to make the cricket team. The question I always get asked is, did he make the cricket team? Yes, he did. I'm not saying we can make everyone make the sporting team that they want to, but it was really exciting to see Bobby do that. And more importantly, I think it's great to be able to see that we don't just see adults, but we do see a range of people coming through. And again, who looks as though they might have less stress on their body. You can see the one on the right standing a lot more upright. The one leaning forward is going to have pressure in their low back, but also up and towards their shoulder and neck, which is where we have a lot of the balance. A lot of our balance and proprioception going into the ears and into that upper neck. Now, as you heard me say, with each of these cases, what we found was that all of these people did all their adjustments in rhythm. So they came to their appointments, they stuck to them. They started to break bad habits or followed lifestyle advice. And the last one was they did all their exercises at home together, whether they were stretches, a cervical orthotic, a posture pole. And we always get some people coming in thinking that they're, I guess, a bit different, which everyone is individuals. But I can always say if somebody comes in and does all 3 of their areas, they're going to get the best results possible, which is, I know why people are coming in. So if you're thinking of coming in and saying, well, I'll do my exercises, I'll avoid the bad habits, but you know what, I can't come to all the appointments that you're saying, or I'm just going to come in once a week or once a fortnight when I feel like. Unfortunately, you're not going to get the results that you may be after. If somebody else comes in and says, hey, I'll come to all the appointments, I'm not going to I'm not going to cancel, I'll follow your advice, I'll drink the water, I'll cut out, alcohol, whatever it is. But you know what? I really can't be bothered doing the exercises. I saw a physio, they didn't work. If you're only just going to do two of those things, again, you're probably not going to get the best results possible for yourself. And then lastly, if you're coming in and getting the adjustments, you're doing the corrective exercises, but then we tell you, hey, don't chop firewood on the weekend, you go chop firewood for 4 hours, it might flare up your low back and you're not going to get the results you're after. So the key thing that we always really try to get across people is this three-legged stool, which is your adjustments in rhythm, corrective exercises, and then break the bad habits. If you can do those three things, do them together, come to the appointments, do your exercises regularly, follow the home advice regularly, you're going to get the best results possible. And I know that's why you're coming in. And as chiropractors or as a CA, that's what we really want for you as well. So please, if you're going to follow our advice, follow all of it, because that's going to give you the best chance to get the best results possible. Just like I was talking about before, lifestyle choices matter. And this is the small little things you do all day, every day. And what I mean by this is when we're talking about the adjustments, it's not necessarily just that one adjustment, it's the accumulation over time. Same with the exercises. It's not that you did the exercises for 2 days and that's it. It's the accumulation of that over time and also avoiding the bad habits. So I talk to a lot of my patients about lifestyle choices matter. And what I mean by that is if you're going out for dinner and you have the option of getting salad or chips, please take the salad. If you have the choice of taking the escalator or the elevator and you've got the option to go up the stairs, take the stairs, because it's going to build up over time and it's going to make it easier for you to live a healthier life. If you've got the option of getting home late and getting McDonald's on the way home or going to Woolworths and then cooking your own dinner, please go to Woolworths. You know it's the right thing. If you're going to get a drink with lunch, grabbing a water as opposed to grabbing a Coke is always going to be better. And we know these things as humans. We're smart people, but sometimes we always go for maybe where the small pleasure is or the quick pleasure is. And so when we say lifestyle choices matter, it's super important that these things build up and accumulate over time. The last thing I just want to say is that us here at Wellbeing Chiropractic, we're on a mission. And so we want to let you know that we want you to share this mission with not just yourself and us, but share it with people that you think might be able to benefit from this information. And we don't put on nights like this, and we don't do these recordings, or we don't hold better results faster workshops in our clinics because just for fun. We're essentially doing it because we're on a mission. We want to be here. We want to let you guys know that we're here to support and that we want to help. So for all of the existing patients who are watching this, thank you so much. I hope you got a lot out of it, and I hope that you've learned concepts which are going to help you with your health and hopefully with your chiropractic journey. And if you have any questions, please email us, or you can also ask your chiropractor when you see them next. Just tell them you watch the Better Results Faster video and just ask them any questions that you might have. For those of you who are maybe watching this and you're not a patient, or if you're a patient and you know somebody who could benefit from this information or who might be able to see a chiropractor, we do have a promotion for $49 for a new patient visit. With that, it's your first full visit. It includes your x-rays. It's valid from 2 weeks from today. So if you know of someone who you think could benefit from this, please email us, or you can also ask your individual chiropractor about that information and just mention the offer that we have as part of this Better Results Faster workshop, and just tell them that you watched the online one. So guys, thank you so much. Again, this will probably bring up some questions, but I really hope that they're thought-provoking, and again, our job here is to enhance lives through chiropractic, and our mission is to educate and adjust people towards their full potential. So thank you so much again, and really appreciate your time tonight.